There have been a lot of rumors of conspiracy in this country. Everything from the JFK assassination, to the NBA basketball games being fixed, to the event that has changed this country forever, 9/11. I think any person would like to believe that there are no conspiracies, that everything that goes on in this country is on the up and up, that there is no collusion, or there's nothing like conspiracy happening in our government, the media, or even the sports that we all enjoy. The definition of a conspiracy is an agreement to perform together an illegal, wrongful, or subversive act. If you listen to the mainstream media, they dismiss almost everything against the status quo as a conspiracy theory, or the people that go against the status quo as a conspiracy nut. If you listen to the media or the government, it's almost like the word conspiracy needs to be taken out of the dictionary, because it's not possible for people in the media and government to conspire in any way. Like their DNA does not allow them to conspire to do anything that's not on the level. I guess to find out where you stand on the conspiracy issue is this. You have to ask yourself this question. Do you believe there are people out there that will do whatever it takes to gain power or manipulate situations for personal gain? Because if you don't, then for you, it's impossible to believe that people can lie about anything, and that any conspiracy is simply an impossibility. I'm going to mention several stories that everyone who sees this video needs to Google for themselves and see that some things that would be considered a conspiracy years ago have not only become fact, but public record as well. Here are some of the conspiracies that have proven true. In 1763, the smallpox-infected blankets were given to the Native Americans. In 1919, the Chicago Black Sox scandal. In 1932, the General Motors streetcar conspiracy. And in 1933, the attempt to overthrow President Roosevelt. Also in 1933, the Reichstag fire in Germany. And in 1939 to 1946, the Manhattan Project, which eventually employed more than 130,000 people and cost nearly $2 billion. In the late 1950s, the quiz show scandal. In 1962, Operation Northwoods. In 1964, the Gulf of Tonkin incident that started the Vietnam War. In 1972, Nixon and Watergate. In 1980, Nelson Bunker Hunt and Silver Thursday. In 1981 to 86, Iran-Contra. In 2001, Enron and Arthur Anderson. And the granddaddy of them all, in 1963, the JFK assassination. To my amazement, there is still some debate on this subject. While it has not been proven fact, I think that most people that have the ability to think for themselves think there's at least a possibility that Oswald was not the lone gunman. Yet to this day it has been swept under the rug as if it were not important enough to look into again officially after all these years. I want to take a second to pose this question. Would you ever believe that for 40 years, between 1932 and 1972, that the United States Public Health Service will conduct an experiment on around 600 black men in the late stages of syphilis? These were poor black sharecroppers from one of the poorest counties of Alabama. They were never informed of their situation and the seriousness of the disease they acquired, yet they were told they were being treated for, and I quote, bad blood. Meanwhile, their doctors had no intention of curing them at all. They were just gathering data from the autopsies after they died. So these doctors knew these men were sick and could have helped them, but they did nothing to help these sick men for over 40 years. They only sat and watched as their health declined. In the end, 28 men died from a direct result of having syphilis with no treatment. 100 men died from complications, while 40 wives were also infected, and to top it off, 19 innocent children were born with congenital syphilis. This all happened under the United States government's watch and under doctor supervision, and more importantly, under the humanitarian umbrella of helping these poor black men with free health care. So forgive me when the last thing I want these days is the government involved in the medicine and health care for this country. I think that many people can't handle this story. Some people just can't accept that something like this could ever happen. That respected doctors could allow people just to rot away and do nothing to help their fellow man. And how could all of them keep this a secret for 40 years? I mean, that's impossible, right? And conspiracies don't exist. They're just fabrications that crazy people talk about. So now that you hear this from me in this video, do you believe it? Do you think it's a conspiracy? So if you don't believe me, who would you believe? Is there a name or person that you go to see if this is true? Is there a branch of government or the media that you trust enough to believe them if they told you that this actually happened? Why don't you take a good hard look at this article from the New York Times and read what it says, and then tell me there are no conspiracies. Think about if your father was one of those men that was used as a guinea pig for the U.S. Public Health Services. So before you go assuming that, that couldn't happen, or that's just a conspiracy, why don't you do your own research and find out for yourself that people in power have done some horrible things. And just because you would never do something that sick and twisted doesn't mean the next guy won't. Now, decades later, they want to apologize to them. And I think they're owed a hell of a lot more than an apology. If it were me and my family, I think I'd tell them where to stick their apology. People need to understand one thing. For as long as people have existed on this earth, there have been people that have ruled other people. America is not the rule, it's the exception, that is quickly becoming what every other government has always been. You need to take a good look around you and wake up to what's really going on in this country. And if you like this video and want to support it, please rate, comment, favorite, and share this video with everyone you know. Also, if you'd like to support this channel, hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified when my newest video is uploaded. Since you can't count on the mainstream media to tell you the truth, you're going to have to start looking for other avenues to get your information. The mainstream media no longer reports the news, they make the news. So please support this channel and others like it.